3.
The trophy in the hands of Blair Riley, and he raises it above his head. Your Elite League Stand-Alone Belfast Giants champions for 2018-19.
Inna.
To the left, Conway with poise and purpose, scores! Scores! Done and dusted! In the land of the Giants, no one is equal. Belfast now the league champions, along with their Challenge Cup.
Row.
The captain, David Goodwin, raise it to the rafters, Goody. 3 in a row for the Belfast Giants. A win tonight and you skate together forever. The Belfast Giants, the 6th title overall, history in the making. And the party will be teal long into the night in Northern Ireland.
This is a View from the Bridge official podcast of your 7-time national, 6-time elite, 3 in a row league champion winning Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Tuesday, the 5th of April, 2023. My name is a very excited Patrick Smith, and you catch us here live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all the other normal podcast stuff. What's going to go on this week? Well, God only knows. We have guests. We have lots of guests. We'll look at the game on Saturday. Apparently, there was another game on Sunday. Simon went to training to chat with a few of the lads. We'll look at the news, the awards due. Craig Peacock helps us preview the forthcoming weekend against the Glasgow Clan. But Mr. Bajimsey and Mr. Kitchen, how are you?
Very well, thank you, Patrick. Just landed and back to Bristol from sunny Belfast, so just in through the door.
Fabulous.
Sunny Belfast?
It was sunny when I was there.
Well, it wasn't sunny this afternoon.
The sun always shines in the righteous, mate.
I hear you, mate. I'm all good, mate. All good.
Good. Right. We're going to crack on with, first of all, the game against Dnipro Kherson is fast approaching, and we've seen names come in the last couple of days, such as Adam Keefe, George Iwata, and Simon had a great chat with JJ Picanich. Well, we're checking out on the Giants socials just the other day. And we'll be adding today, just now, 2 new names on that Giants All-Star list. First, he's a 5-time Elite League champion, a 4-time Challenge Cup winner, and of course, Davy, he's a 2-time Rookie of the Year. Now, you, Davy, maybe rather he was working on his new album, but he'll be listening up with the All-Stars on April the 16th. Of course, please welcome back to View from the Bridge, Mark Garside. There he is.
Hello. Not too bad. How are y'all?
Congratulations on that 5-time Elite League championship.
Cheers. It was great.
Does that mean you're a long time successful or just played a long time?
Bit of both, I think.
You've been before we get on that, you've been asked to join this All-Star, the Belfast Giants All-Stars, taking on Dnipro Kherson in just a couple of weeks' time. Your thoughts on that?
Obviously, it'll be a great event. It's a really good way to give awareness and do something for people that are in need. So hopefully it'll go really well, and it'll be fun to see a lot of old faces come back. I've already had a message from Boxy asking me if there's anything I want from America, so I think he said if he could fit a big fridge in his bag, one of those ones with the ice cube maker. Yeah, if he can get one of them in his bag, he said he'll bring it.
Is it cheaper from there? Just get it shipped in. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's good. Like you say, the names that are coming in, you've JJ coming back, or say even like you've got Darrell Lloyd and Adam Keefe. I'm wondering which line they'll be put on and who they'll be put on.
I wonder, eh?
Get the old band back together.
Yeah, we'll get the band back together. No passes on that line, all dumps.
Davey, what about Gary being back as part of the side?
Look, you can't have an All-Star game without the club All-Star, so it sits very well that Mark Garside would come back into that lineup. So here, I want to ask you one thing, Gary, but about getting away from that game ever so slightly. See the winning on Saturday night. The quote the great Rick Witter. What was he to say? Do you still get that maximum high, so to speak? Like, is it different from the first one, or is it a relief when it happens? Is it still the explosion of emotions, or what way are you feeling just when that clock's winding down?
It's funny, what I've realised is last season and seasons gone by when we've been maybe I just don't remember it, but like I was honestly so excited for the game this weekend, like, and similarly last year, like to the point where like you can hardly sleep some some nights just thinking about it. You're super excited to play it. I think that's kind of what I've realised. I still get really, really excited for the game, and the adrenaline is just max, during the game. And then almost at the end we won, and it was nice this time. I was on the ice at the end as well, so it was great. I think you can look back nostalgically at your league wins and things like that and think maybe you felt slightly differently, but I think this one was kind of. I was really jacked up to play that game. I was really excited.
Gary, you've obviously won a few trophies now. Davy or Paddy went through them. There are 5 elite leagues, 4 challenge cups. You've got to do a couple of them on the ice at the arena, and then the last couple you've had the opportunity to celebrate it with Becky and the kids coming out onto the ice. That must be pretty special for you as well.
Yeah, it's obviously something hopefully they'll remember for the rest of their lives. Really get on the ice in front of 5,500, 6,000 people there, getting to celebrate and see the trophy go around, get pictures and stuff. And it's great just to have them out there because they're your support system at home. Hockey is a stressful job, especially when you're trying to win the league. There's a lot of stress involved in a full 8 months of basically being a perfectionist. So they're really the kind of come home and take the hockey cap off and enjoy my time with them. So it's good that they can come to the rink and just see the celebrations and enjoy it as well.
Fantastic. Well, listen, mate, we don't want to keep you very long, but we do have one more name that has to be announced, and it's you that's going to announce it. Could you share with us the next name on that All-Star roster?
Yes, it's also a 5-time league champion, Ballymoney Badgers all-time leading scorer, Andrew Dixon.
Fantastic. Dicko joining that side. I think that having Dicko on that side is it's well worth it, Davey. It's we know how much Dicko means to this club and how much he deserves to be in that All-Star lineup.
I said to Dicko just yesterday, I wish for one day he could see himself through our eyes, because Dicko has this thing that he's not worthy, that he doesn't really deserve these trophies, that he's not really a good commentator, that he's not really a good goaltender, that he's not really important in the locker room, that he's not really important during the week. Okay, Tyler Beskorowany's main job is and Jackson Whistle next, is those 60 minutes on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday. Dicko's main job is making sure everybody's ready to go there and that he's ready himself just in case he gets the call. And he's been such a great pro to this club for 10, 11, 12 years. And I just wish Dicko knew how important he is.
Gary?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's a guy down the years, down the decades now. His commitment to the Giants is second to none. He's always been at training, ready to pick up if there's injuries or things like that, and he's always willing to go and take shots when people want to practice or shooting or whatever. He's there every day. He's a special guy to have around too. He's obviously a friend of mine, but he's hilarious in the room, keeping spirits up and things like that. He's a very positive influence on the dressing room down the years.
No, absolutely, Gary. I pop in into the dressing room every once in a while for the shout out just for doing something but he just doesn't realize, as Davey says, he just does not realize the value that he is to the Belfast Giants. He's been there for 12 or 13 years now. He's obviously had the opportunity to play 45, 46 games, I think it is, around that total. But when you get the opportunity to be a Belfast Giant, it puts you in a very elite group, especially for the guys born in Northern Ireland. And for him not to be able to skate until he was 18, 19, and to continue to do what he does is absolutely outstanding. I just think the world love him. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And the Belfast Giants fans, when he eventually does want to wrap it up, will miss him. And that dressing room will also miss him as well. He's one, as you say, Gary, he's one of the funniest guys on the planet. Like, his wit is just outstanding. I just think that I wish he knew how important he is to all of us, as well as the fan base as well. I just don't think he realizes how much love he actually is, to be honest.
Oh, I'm trying to tee something up here that Mr. McJimsey sent me through. It's which one? Give us what the crack is here with this, Davy.
I'm working on a little project, Paddy. I don't know whether you've got.
Okay.
I've
got one on.
What little project I'm working on, but what you going for number one?
I'm just going for number one at the moment because I can't get the others on. So here's number one. Look at that! Look at that youthful complexion. Hey, my goodness! See on that. That's a young lad. Look at that. His whole life in front of him. Whole life in front of him. Look at that. So what's the project then, Davy?
You'll just have to wait and find out. I'm 3/5 of the way through it, so work it out.
Just let you know, folks, this is live. We are live.
We are live. Listen, Mark, really appreciate you coming on. I know it's been a long week. A big game this weekend against the Glasgow Clan. A lot to prepare for. So well, thank you for your time and good luck for the weekend.
No problem. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Cheers, Gary.
Cheers, Gary.
Big thanks.
Should also add
Mark.
Thanks to Michael Cooper for the picture there.
Oh, Michael Cooper for the picture. Yes, absolutely. The great to have Gary on. Good to have Dicko as part of that side as well. And no doubt that game on the 16th of April is going to be fantastic. Like I said, the names that have been the 19th of April. I keep forgetting that wrong. The 19th of April. 16th of April is the playoff final. 19th of April is going to be fantastic. And the names that, like you say, JJ Pickernich, Adam Keefe, Darryl Lloyd, George Awada, some of the names already thrown out. And now we've been able to add to that Mark Garside and Andrew Dixon. Now, let's have a discussion, gentlemen, about how we were able to get our hands on this little piece of silverware that is sitting in, where's it sitting, Simon? In your kitchen? In Kitchen's Kitchen?
Kitchen's Kitchen. It's sitting over in a corner. Somebody had to bring it home to clean it, so it's been left to my door. The boys have certainly had it out all over Belfast over the last couple of days. They even took it to Scotland with them on Sunday. So it's done its tour, but needs a bit of a clean. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I got to bring it home tonight. And you guys wanted it on the show, so there we go.
How can we not have the Elite League trophy on the show once again as the Belfast Giants defeated the Guildford Flames 6-1 on Saturday to retain for 3 in a row that Elite League title. Goals come from Ben Lake, Jeff Baum, 2 from Henrik Erickson, 1 from Matt McLeod and Steve Urry in the power play, rounding off the scoring for the Giants. And Prunella for the Guildford Flames was the only goal for them in the second period. Tyler Beskorowany, 18 shots on, 1 goal against. Eamon McAdam, 41 shots on, 6 goals against. Tom Perring and Matt Rose were the 2 referees. David, it was a great evening and a great performance for the Belfast Giants.
That's one thing, especially Patrick, about it. It was a really, really strong performance. We came out of the traps right. Big, over 7,000. Then again, credit to those who and the people have started. Success breeds good crowds, but it needed a catalyst, and the people made it happen. Over 7,000, and I thought the Giants came out really, really well in the game. And for that first 15 minutes, we outchanced them strong. I think it was 19 shots to 7 or something the first period. We could have scored earlier than that. We got a lot at McAdam. Unlike him, he dropped it. He cuffed a lot. The glove hand wasn't really working for him. He spilt a lot out in front with a lot of secondary scoring opportunities. I thought me and Simon were standing up above Boomerang corner. I think it was Matt McLeod had a tight angle shot that came up and hit him in the chest and bounced down into the back of the net. And that whole side of the arena thought it was in. And we thought it was a goal.
Yeah.
Adam or Murph on commentary thought it was a goal. But then it's 1 or 2 shifts later. It's no time later that Ben Lake does this. What Ben Lake has done, he coming off that left half wall and just controlling the ice in front of him with his body, getting his backside out, going backhand and scoring, putting this one up. And it was a real pressure release valve coming off. The noise in the arena was, TV's needed. Coach Russell texted us and just went, that was a proper Belfast Giants roar. And from them, of course, we went 2 up and they pegged us back on a funny old power play, but they got back in. Once we got that 3rd goal, it was game over. It was really game over, and it was going to be how many are we going to score here. And again, McAdam didn't do brilliant for the goals. We'll analyse hopefully later on in the piece Henrik Erickson's, especially the second goal. Again, me and Simon were beautifully positioned, and we're almost commentating through it, going, "Oh, look what he's done! Oh, look at it! Oh no, it's a goal!" And we talked it back, and we talked to Hank later on that night about just how good the goal was, and what he had done, and he was jacked up. Like, obviously on the night, you see his celebrations and giving it out, giving the Scott Conways after the goal to every player around him. You know, I think Ben O'Connor got it in both goals, but that goal there. Gary Jackson claimed an assist on it. I claimed an assist on it because I was standing beside Says, and when it gets knocked out into the neutral zone and Bomber takes it down, the guys are still coming back from offside. And I'm like, relax, you can get it and don't play it. And I don't think very many people saw the shot coming, especially McAdam. He just opened his body up and bang, it's in the back of the net. And that was, ultimately the championship, winning goal. So for Jeff Baum to score that, for Jeff Baum Sr. to be watching that back in Texas must have been a real thrilling moment for him. But I'll let Simon come on the second half of the game. But what a performance. There's going to be a bit here that Simon is going to love.
I think I know what that's going to be, Simon. The performance all around. We were strong defensively. Only was it, I say, 18 shots put on Tyler Beskorowany on the night, and then going forward, we've just been, as we have been in the last number of weeks, pretty much unstoppable at times.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the 18 shots on Besco, and he didn't overly have an overly busy night, but what he did have was a couple of really important saves early on. He was really strong earlier on, and to be honest with you, this defensive unit out front were letting him see it like a beach ball. So that's where it starts. It's literally the forwards that doing their job, and then engages the defense that easier to do their jobs, and then Besco just does what Besco does. And as Davey said, we had a couple of really good looks to get the goals. We ended up being lucky enough to basically stand on the spotlight platform with no seats, by the way. It was that busy, we did not have a seat. So we're watching the game on the East End for the West End for game, or period 1 and 3, and the East End for period 2 on the spotlight platform. I just thought we were absolutely brilliant. Davey touched on McAdam there, not having the strongest game. I just thought we didn't give him a chance to settle. I mean, backhand shots are always difficult to look at. You want your goaltender to be the strongest player in those circumstances, and that didn't work out for him on Saturday evening. I was speaking to a few of the boys today, and they were telling me that the start of the season, the first couple of games, especially, they beat us, I think it was 3-2 or 4-2 back in October in Belfast. He was basically chirping the boys, especially Scott Conway. He was chirping Scott Conway, every time, every opportunity they got, shots coming in, he's making the saves and he's chirping out. Every player that we had on the bench that get anywhere near him on Saturday night was chirping him back, and he hated it. He absolutely hated it. It'll tighten him up. But I thought we were absolutely brilliant on Saturday. That goal from Henrik was just brilliant. We talk about, fanboy of Ben Lake. The goal to get us started is exactly what we needed. Big Neil Russell was talking on how good a job that to get that first goal. Mark Cooper doesn't get the plaudits that he needs because he just takes the eyes away from the goalie, stands out front, and Lakers' shot was absolutely outstanding. But then he steps up and does this. Ferguson's wanted it all season long. He got hit so many rights, he was begging for a left. And it was great.
One-sided, wasn't it?
He was brilliant, man. He's just, honestly, pound for pound in the league, he's that, he's that character. He just steps up every opportunity he gets. Lakers just, again, you know what I think of Ben Lake. I just think he's absolutely outstanding. And the noise that generated when he put him down and when the fight started was unbelievable. Davey was standing right beside me for it. And then there it is coming up again. He just literally, your man Ferguson had one glove off already. And it's this left jab coming in here that knocks the helmet off.
The helmet.
Outstanding.
What a brilliant thing to add to the actual night as well. You think about how the Giants are absolutely purring at this point. They're scoring. They're up. We're on the verge of winning a league title. The crowd are already are buzzing, and then you threw that into the mix where from an entertainment point of view, where Ben Lake just stands up for his teammates like that. Phenomenal.
Murph had said during the commentating, again, when I watched the game back, and Murph was saying, he says, there's not very many opportunities that you get to fight in a game like that. I mean, 1 versus 2, it's been like that for, 3 months now. The Guildford, let's make no mistake, the Guildford Flames have done really, really well this year. Paul Dixon should be very proud of that group. He'll be disappointed. He got handed to him on Saturday night in Belfast. They certainly weren't expecting to come in here and get humped 6-1. But when we scored 9 against Manchester, 8 against Sheffield last week, we just get the opportunity. And once we start rolling, there's no stopping them. There's absolutely no stopping them. And the group, as the whole team, just pulled together again on Saturday night, and they celebrated properly. On Saturday evening especially, and when you're the story, like when you're on the drink and you don't have any food apart from your pre-game meal, it doesn't end well. But the boys had a really good night, and we were very lucky to be close to keeping an eye on them as well. But no, look, we're the Elite League champions for the 3rd time in a row. It's the most successful Elite League team in 17-year history, whatever it is, 18-year history. And we absolutely thoroughly deserved it. And I couldn't be more delighted for the players and the coaching staff.
I think, Davey, just quickly from a Guildford, as Sis just touched on the fact that Guildford were in the running and they finished in 2nd place. They were leading the league for such a long time. This was first v second. Paul Dixon should be very proud of the squad that he has.
Yeah, and it's very, very difficult to say stuff without sounding condescending, and you don't mean to. I spoke to Paul Dixon after the game, and even then, you're saying congratulations on an unbelievable season, coach. Safe travels and all, and we'll see you now, and et cetera, et cetera. Hopefully see you now, I'm sorry. And it's hard, but rather than try and play up how like that the Guildford Flames were 7 days to Christmas, the 19th or 18th of December, the Belfast Giants were 13 points behind after 23 games, and the next 29 games, 58 points now for the Belfast Giants, took 52 points. The Giants went and won this league. You can't be saying the Guildford Flames threw it away or anything. That team in front of you on video there went and won this league, and that's unbelievable. You have things like Goody coming up with his 200th point for the Giants there on Steve Orry's goal. Scott Conway coming up with points tonight. What I really loved, and Sis was talking about the Ben Lake fight there as it happened. The Matt McLeod goal, McLeod was absolutely, they could not deal with his speed. We talk about speed kills and all. Jeff Baum starts a rush and he just drops it to Orry or to Matt McLeod, and he goes straight to the net, screens the goalie, and Matt McLeod has that top bins just to pop it in. It's like Jeff Baum comes up with a goal, big assist. There were so many strong performances on the night, but like right through the season, you could give nearly every player in that roster from Christmas some form of mention within being an MVP, because they've all produced on big occasions. Sorry, Sam,
there was one point, Davey. I think the score was 2-1, and it was in the second period, and there was a scrum in front. And Besco
gets rattled.
Quickly. Besco gets rattled. See, since that point, our bench took over. We completely dominated that game. I can't remember. I think it might have been Ferguson or maybe Markson, who basically went in front of him and gave him a bit of a nudge in the second period. And Besco bounced up, and he doesn't get very animated very often. He's a big, cool character in the net, and he bounced up and gave a guy a bit of a push. And our team sort of get up and get at them, and then 2 minutes later, or 2 or 3 minutes later, Laker, punched the face off Ferguson. And as I say, we just absolutely took over after that. And Guildford had no answer for us. Absolutely no answer for us whatsoever. They come out with that, as I say, in front of the crowd. It can put pressure on you. And that's exactly, when you're playing in front of crowds like that. I think there was 2 or 3 Guildford fans. Obviously, they weren't going to be heard very much with the amount of fans for the Belfast Giants that were in there. But even when we conceded that only goal that they scored, it didn't dishearten the fans. The fans were absolutely brilliant on Saturday night. I mean, absolutely outstanding. Right the whole way around the arena, everybody was bought into it. And I said to Adam on Monday night, we had the awards dinner on Monday night. I remember looking down at him in the third period, probably about 6 or 7 minutes to go. We're 5-1 up. And I remember looking down at the bench during the play, and Adam's sort of taking in what he's actually achieved. And, we talk about the group of the players. We talk about the club winning all these trophies. And Adam Keefe has obviously been an integral part, if not the most important part of doing that. What he's done in 5 years of coaching is unbelievable. It genuinely is unbelievable. And we need to appreciate, it's certainly, there's people going to be opening eyes to see exactly what's happening. Hopefully we can hold on to him for a long, long time. He's just a top-notch coach, well respected all throughout the league. And there's not a fan in this league that wouldn't want Adam Keefe behind their bench.
Here. And with that, gentlemen,
just one really quick wee mention. One very, very quick mention. I think it was the first period. A puck has got tipped and went into the bench and absolutely mullered young Kel Beatty. Just caught him right in the edge of the mouth. Straight into the docks for stitches. Had to put the goldfish bowl on for the rest of the game. I've seen him. Can't remember whether it was during the first period break or second period break, but coming out of the locker room to go back on the ice, and someone said to him, "Oh, Kel, you all right? Is that sore?" He's but he split proper, but he took it like a champ. And those guys, great to see Mac and Kel, young local lads, celebrating another league win, like two leagues under their belt in 2 seasons. I bet hard to believe. And of course, his trophies around the GB as well over in Solway or wherever else he's playing this season. But speedy recovery to Kel. He had to go out there on Sunday night then with the goldfish bowl on and play a lot of minutes too. So
he's okay. He's all right. He's won practice this week, so he's absolutely fine.
Just like I say,
bit of a lift.
War wounds. I say that win allowed us to do it again.
The captain, David Goodwin, raise it to the rafters. Goody, 3 in a row for the Belfast Giants. A win tonight, and you skate together forever. The Belfast Giants, the 6th title overall, history in the making. And the party will be teal long into the night in Northern Ireland.
There it is, on the floor of Simon Kitchen's kitchen, the Elite League Championship trophy once more in the hands of the Belfast Giants. The highlights from that game are available on the Belfast Giants YouTube channel from Giants TV, and obviously some great call from Aaron Murphy and from Colin Shields. Now, we do have a guest waiting in the wings. There is just one thing to cover before we do. I'll take the trophy out there, Simon. There was another game, guys, apparently, that took place on the Sunday, and just for completion's sake, let's just have a quick look. It was 9-2 for the Dundee Stars. Lots of people scored for Dundee, and Will Cullen and David Gibert scored for the Belfast Giants. Andrew Dixon in goals, 17-7, 30 minutes. Jackson Wilson goal, 26-2 in 30 minutes. Anton Svensson, 21-2. Toby Craig, Pavel Hollis were the 2 referees. Is there anything to be said other than there were 11 goals and the only penalty was to Svensson for a delay of game?
I do. That's the only time the Scottish team beat us this year.
Is that really the only Scottish team to beat us this year?
Yep.
I didn't realise that. Yeah, that's
actually
season. I suppose that we got took the overtime by Clan, didn't we?
Yep.
It was also the second time a Scottish team we never took a penalty against a Scottish team this season. Bit of a more boring one.
Is that right? Oh my God. Easy night for the officials.
Yeah, they only called one delay game penalty the whole game. That was it.
Again, that was against against the goalkeeper Anton Svensson, who's the only penalty in the whole game. And I think every one of those 9 goals assisted by Heineken. Strangely, I don't know why. Don't know why it says that. The highlights of that game, if you want to watch.
I tell you what, when Will Cullen scored, the bookies were like, "What are you doing?" But no, not me. I wouldn't do that kind of thing. But that's just
you wouldn't. No, it's not really your thing. There seemed to be a lot of happy people on the after the 9-2 victory for the Stars. Don't know what that was like.
Even Kiefer after the game was quite okay in the post-match interview.
Well,
so it was.
Well, that's the only other thing I've got to do before we go to our second guest of the evening, and that is Adam Keefe's interview.
Maybe celebrate a little too hard, but that's a difficult game to play in. Certainly, obviously I wish we'd played a little smarter, all things considered, but it didn't happen. We left the goalies out to dry tonight. But I guess if you try and take the positive out of it, we certainly celebrated in style last night, and the guys was very well deserved. I mean, these guys have committed themselves for 8 months and really fought through a lot of adversity this year and a lot of changes and have come out on top, and that's extra special. So, we're going to enjoy the night tonight.
Tell it like it is. Right. The fan agenda brought to you by our friends at Belfast Giants TV. We're delighted. 2 goals on Saturday night and an F-bomb on national TV. Please welcome Henrik Erickson. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, turn your phone sideways. Give us a landscape look.
So
It'll do. Is it going to work?
this?
Oh,
You've got it on lock, has he?
Yeah.
That's
It's all right. I'll go like this, Hank. You go ahead there.
there we go.
Okay, there we are.
There we go. Top stuff.
Hi,
Right.
boys. Hi.
How you doing, mate? First of all, give us your reaction. What was it like to be part of that side? You scored 2 goals yourself and lifting that elite league trophy.
It was awesome, man. It was really nice. It was. And I mean, to do 2 goals too, I couldn't think about it like before. And I was like, yeah, I just want to have a good game and like help the team. And I did 2 goals. So it was really good. I was really happy with the game.
The atmosphere, 7,000 people in the arena, the place was going absolutely nuts. It must be one of the great sort of feelings to play in a game like that.
Yeah, 100%. It was the coolest game I ever played in my life. So it was really nice.
This is where I try my Swedish, boys.
Just go for it.
Been practicing my Swedish, Hank. So, du
If
väl
I have
lyckling?
again?
Du väl lyckling?
Ja, verkligen.
Ja. Oh, there we go, maybe.
Ja, det är bra.
Yeah, trying. We spoke on Saturday night after the game about. We're going to talk about let's talk about the second goal first. You're coming into the offensive zone. Ben O'Connor has a little whack at you. You have a whack back. It cycles around the board. Maybe 7, 8 times out of 10, he clears it and you just skate on by. You go and lay the body on him. One, it eliminates him from the game.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it gives you the ice to go back into. I can't remember who it is now. It's somebody stops it at the blue line.
Donny.
I can't remember who. Donny stops it at the blue line.
Exactly.
Matt McLeod has an attempt to catch it with a glove. It goes to Donny, and he plays it back in. And you've gone for the skill finish. You were quite animated afterwards. You were pretty excited at that point.
Yeah, it was awesome. Especially like after that, like he whacked me actually quite hard, like kind of like greasy move of him. And I was like, yeah, fuck. I see him in the corner. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna hit this guy hard now.
Yeah.
And just like it was like perfect. Like hit him, took the inside, and then like Donny gave me a really good pass, and I can like, yeah, it was a good finish actually. I've seen it now a couple of times, and it was really good.
Hank, it's you get to play that game in front of all those fans in Belfast, and you've obviously got a Challenge Cup under your belt now as well, and the Elite League title. Looking forward, we've got another big game 2 games this weekend. You must be really looking forward to getting involved in those games as well, because the team are on a big high right now.
Yeah, 100%. I think we are playing really good hockey, and I think like if we do what we like really feel we can do with this team, I think we can catch that 3rd title this year.
What is there with regards to standards? Is there a big difference between where you were playing at the start of the season in Lillehammer to Belfast?
Yeah,
the league, is there a difference in skill, a
Yeah.
difference in speed?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a lot different. It took me some time to like figure out the league, I would say, and like because like the Scandinavian way to play is completely different, I would say, than this. So it actually took me some while, but I feel like now maybe my last couple 5 to 10 games, I've been getting better and better every game, I think. So
Is
I really
is
enjoy
that
it.
Sorry, says is that the because we play a more North American physical style here versus maybe the more skilled game in Scandinavia?
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Like a lot more like north and sideways this year. Like maybe this is a little bit faster and of course stronger too. I mean, you have like 14 imports in every team, and in, for example, Norway, you have like 5, 6 guys. So I mean, the skill level is higher here too, and I don't think this league don't get enough credits around Europe. Actually, it's a good league. I mean, it's really good. It's fast and it's good.
Yeah, I think you're right, and like we would obviously say that as fans of this league, but we've heard so many players who have come in, especially from like North America or from Europe, and have also said, you know, that the style of the league was a lot higher than they expected.
Yeah, 100%. And like what I was gonna say there, like if you like compare, like you go like in like every line, you're gonna meet an import here, and like for example in Norway, for example, where I was playing before, it's like 5 to 6 import, maybe like it's 2 good defensemen in each team, but here like you meet 6 or 5 really good defensemen every shift. I mean, it's a quite difference, like how how everybody's like competing and like how strong the guys are here compared to back home.
Hank, another
Yeah.
one this season. Obviously you've got your wife and little daughter here as well. They got they were at the game on Saturday evening. How are you settling into Belfast? I know it's obviously a different culture for you. The city's new to you as well. How have you settled in over the last couple of months?
It has been really good actually. We really enjoy this, and enjoy every day of it. So it's really nice actually, and they are loving it as well. Like like the week before we got here, we had like 25 degrees and like almost 2 meters of snow. And like to come here, like to green grass, you can play outside, like go to a bunch of playgrounds with my daughter, and it's really fun actually.
David?
No, I have no questions.
No, I thought you were. There was a question about how many Swedes have played for us, but I'm
how many Swedes have played for us?
Freddie
Nasval. Freddie Nasval. We had Rikard Palmberg a few years ago. Johan Edspam. Henrik Erickson.
There's 5.
There's 5 Swedes, is there?
5 players.
That's right. So not that many Swedes have come in.
Oh no, what do you call him? Played in Sweden. Liam Redix played in Sweden, but obviously wasn't Swedish.
So did David Goodwin.
Good, he played.
Yeah, but my point was going to be: is he the first Swede to win the Elite League for us? I think he is, isn't he?
Oh, really?
Potentially.
Oh,
yeah, I can't think of that.
We'll double check. I'll let you know.
We'll double check that.
Johan Edspam had gone by Christmas, so he definitely didn't win.
Listen, Henrik, congratulations on winning the Elite League title. Good luck this weekend in the playoffs, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, boys. Thank you.
Thanks, man. See you later.
Thank you.
A guy who's come in and hit the ground running, fantastic player. He took a little bit of time to get, but in the last couple of weeks, especially in the run-in, Davy, he's been brilliant.
He hasn't had it easy. Injury, illness. You know, that illness took him out of the lineup for a number of weeks, and he took time to get over that as well. But yeah, like you're only as, you know, your mind sometimes focuses on what you've just seen, and he had a really, really strong game on Saturday night. Like we'll go back to that again. Simon and me were like purring about it when he scored that goal. The whole build up to it, the off the puck stuff with O'Connor going and making that hit that probably, when I look at the stats, he probably hasn't made too often, but he decides, well, he's whacked me, and you've heard in his own words what he thought, why he did it. You know, if you boys, I'm going to hammer you. And you know, Simon, who's coached kids and who has played the game all day, and they talk about finishing your hits. That is why he eliminates the D-man from the play. He opens the ice up to himself. Of course, it always needs Donny Niles has done it, made a really good play at the blue line and got it back on target. And you put the puck on target and good things happen. And Hank goes in there and plays that high skill finish through McAdam's pads. And, and if you see the video when it rolls right through to where O'Connor sort of to meet each other, Hank's celebrating the bench and O'Connor has to skip past him. Like, he gets at both barrels. It's absolutely, it's beautiful. It's great to see. I love to see people playing with a smile on their face. And,
definitely does.
Of course, it was a great occasion. Everybody, and we're 3 or 4 up and everybody's enjoying it. But like, he was pumped, and it's love to see it.
We have to mention about the interview after the game. I mean, it was.
Have you got it, Paddy?
We actually didn't know about it because we were in the arena. It was Murph. We're talking to Murph after the game, and Murph said that he says, "Oh, you've got to listen to Henrik Erickson interview after the game." And as soon as he told me, I called Hank over, and he says. I didn't. What did I say? And we told him what he said. Not allowed to say bad words on TV. No. And he says, okay, a bit late.
That's the way it goes. Right, let's crack on, boys. We've got 2 people waiting in the wings. We're going to bring in one, then I'm going to get another one to join him. But last time we brought this lad on, we just lost 2 games to the Manchester Storm. And as the captain, he fronted up and come and join us. It's only fair that we bring him on when we have the bad results, that we bring him on when there's a fantastic result for the Belfast Giants. Please welcome back the captain, David Goodwin. Welcome back, Goody. Congratulations.
Thank you, boys. To piggyback off that, Patty, I was wondering if I was ever going to get the invite after a good result. So I'm delighted to be here.
Listen, true to my word, it was the fact that I was thinking about it the other day. I went, you can't, like, when we've lost 2 games to the Storm. It's like, right, get the captain on here. We want answers. And
I feel like over the last couple of years, I only have bad memories of joining this podcast. So I'm happy I now am
majority
in a good mood.
Majority of people, mate.
Yeah.
People only have bad memories of actually watching
good
the podcast.
memories. Good memories. Here you are.
There we go. Now everything is all good.
There's the trophy you got your hands on. To give us your thoughts on Saturday and all that took place.
Yeah, it was just a perfect culmination of a ton of hard work, a ton of grind and commitment. And I've said it in a few interviews, like no other team deserves this more than we do. And I'll go to the grave with that statement.
To have the arena as pumped, as full. And we talked about it just when we were talking about the game there. Not only did we go up and there's just such a confidence in the game that we're playing, but then Ben Lake goes and batters Brett Ferguson, and the arena goes up just another level again.
Yeah. And some backstory on that. I don't know if you guys remember back in 2019, I actually fought Brett Ferguson in Guildford. And so the shift previous in the game on Saturday, Fergie asked me if I wanted to fight again. And I said, no chance. And Laker noticed that Fergie had asked me. And so Laker went out and was like, I'm not going to let that go, untouched. And so he challenged Fergie. So I was pretty grateful for Laker doing that.
That's a teammate right there. We talked about him earlier, and I think Simon talks about him every week, and rightly so. But to have that before asking another question, but just to have that on the bench beside you, he doesn't let those things go unchecked. That must be give you a bit of a boost going out there.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a huge reason why we win year after year is because Kiefer continues to bring in guys with that level of commitment to the organization. So
I got to ask Gary, with Gary on at the very top of the show talking about the Ukrainian game, but it was asking him, and I love the sort of the psychology behind it all. So winning last year was great. Winning this year is obviously great as well. Does it feel the same? Does it feel different? There's been an awful lot of talk about the stress of this season, and being a 54 game plus 11 in the Challenge Cup plus 6, and we're into 70-something games now. It's long and it's stressful. Is that an emotional release? Is it an exhale afterwards, or is it just so emotionally high? Can you actually, apart from getting a good drink, can you actually celebrate the moment?
Yeah, no, all good questions. A massive sigh of relief, of course. As Kiefer says, he does put a lot of stress on us all year long. So the fact that we're able to get the job done, you know, it's phenomenal, and it's very it's very relieving, really. In comparison, like this year, last year, it really does feel completely different. You know, last year kind of a 2-horse race, this year kind of like a 4-horse race, and so yeah, they don't feel similar at all. Obviously, we had a lot of new faces this year. Last year, we didn't have a single transaction, so the storylines are completely different. But like I said at the beginning, like it is kind of the same memo. You just really need to stick together when it gets tough, and the teams that can be consistent and grind, you know, cohesively, those are the teams that are probably going to win in this league.
And just to follow up on that, there's hopefully 2 weekends of the season left. It's been long, it's been a grind, it's 70 games. And you talk about the exhale there, and we had a coach a number of years ago, Doug Christensen, talked about winning the league and the collective exhale where the whole team just goes, that's that over. And none of these teams have been able to get themselves up for that playoff when we've came so close so many times. Goody, you know, last year we're close. We've came 3 or 4 or 5 finals over the last decade.
Overtimes.
That's a right use guys will want, or a wrong use guys I want to put right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this year one of the differences compared to last year going into the playoffs is I think we have a little bit better depth this year. I remember thinking at the end of last year, if we would have had Bush and Rayner in that final game, I think that would have been just a gigantic difference. This year, and we kind of proved that depth when Longer went out, when we had some injuries in the last couple games, we had guys step right in. Obviously, Hank's done a great job. Soisy plays a role. So I think that would be, at least in my opinion, one of the big differences going into the playoffs.
Goody, you talk about the squad, you talk about everybody pulling their weight and you know, getting to where we want to get to with winning that title on Saturday. And when you look at the whole season as a whole, I mean, you've had a better view than anybody over the last 2 seasons playing with Scott Conway. And I know Cons will always turn it around to the group, and even just watching, I was watching you this morning after practice when you went on with the guys from Better Gym, and you were still practicing your shot when you got the opportunity. But Scott Conway, the competitiveness within him for everything. I'm not just talking about scoring goals and setting the goals up and playing for the team, but to have the view that you've had over the last 2 years alongside him. Tell us about what type of character he is and individually from him and your line.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Stiz. Like, my biggest takeaway from playing with him is just how competitive he is. He never takes a night off. He probably plays through injuries that the majority of the guys in this league would not play through. That probably comes from a place of pride, but regardless, you know, he is so competitive, and that's probably what I admire about him the most. And yeah, like I was sitting next to Coop during the award ceremony, and obviously, you know, Scott walked away with, I don't know, 4 or 5 awards, and every single award, Coop and I were like, he deserves every one of these that he's getting. I mean, none of them are, you know, a fan favorite. None of them are, you know, politics. Every single one of these he deserves. So my hat is always tipped to him. He works very hard, and I'm proud to be a teammate of his for 2 years.
And, you know, last year I got the chance to speak with JJ yesterday, and we obviously announced he's playing in the charity game in a few weeks' time. Playing with that line with Cons and JJ last year. You've had a couple of partners this year alongside the two of you. Obviously, started with Mark Cooper and Jelly was there for a while. Booch was there for a while. But Steve Lowry really has found that niche. I think he's got 29 goals this year so far. But again, as a trio, you just click off each other.
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate that there was only so many awards to give out the other night, because I think Steve Lowry, like, it's kind of criminal that guy didn't walk away with an award. Not that he does it for the awards, but he's been so valuable for us, you know, and he's had a lot of probably more adversity than the average guy on our team that's been here the whole season. So the fact that he was able to go through that adversity early on, you know, we bring Hank in, Steve gets, you know, pushed down a line or two, continues to work his way up. It's really incredible that he's ended with the numbers that he has.
David, a 9-2 loss to Dundee Stars. We want answers. We want answers.
You're talking to the wrong guy. I was in the stands having a beer with Scott Conway, so I'm not exactly sure what was going on.
We let's add discussion. We're going to bring in a man who has played 3 seasons for the Belfast Giants, and in those 3 seasons he's won 3 Challenge Cups and 3 league titles. There's one yet to pick up. Tyler Beskorowany.
Hi gang, how we doing?
How are you doing? Congratulations on yet another elite league title.
Thank you. Yeah, Patty, I don't think you actually want to know what happened on Sunday.
Man, I watched it. Don't know why. I watched it.
It's after 9 o'clock. It's after 9. Water's yet.
You've come in since the turn of the year, Besco, and since then the Belfast Giants haven't conceded very many goals. The atmosphere. Obviously, the last 2 times that it's been won hasn't been won at home. The atmosphere at home on Saturday for you for picking up your 3rd, does that surpass the other 2?
In their own ways, having won my first one from a bar, the second one is shootout, and this one at home in front of the crowd, it's been unbelievable. And so they're all special. They all have their different types of feel to it, but I'm glad I was able to get one done at home.
Besco, how nice was it to do it in front of like the star of the show, young Austin, who now understands a little bit more? Like, he was buzzing on Saturday night.
Well, I think we can be honest and say that he was probably the true award winner of that award I ended up getting there on Monday night. And so, but no, it was special for him to come on the ice. That was his first time on the ice with one of the trophies. So for him to actually come on the ice and take pictures and stuff and get a feel for the crowd from the ice level and stuff. It was pretty awesome.
And similar, I asked Gary, and you were maybe in the green room, or you heard me asking the captain, the difference because probably you've only come in since Christmas, you haven't had the full grind that the guys have had from August. So maybe not as stressful a situation as some of the guys have found themselves in, but that exhale, that relief it's over, excitement that it's happened, but now refocus for 2 big weekends, hopefully.
Yeah, it's definitely a relief. I think that just even the pressure that I got from Christmas time, coming in here and being, when I ended up signing it, we were 11 points back, and just finally getting there and getting to where you want to go and having all that hard work pay off at the end. It's a huge relief, and I think everybody enjoyed ourselves the last couple of days. But for me especially, to not get that playoff trophy yet from the 2 years that I've been here, it definitely stings, and it's one that I'm going to want to win this year. So I know the guys from last year too. We're all in the same boat. That feeling that we got from winning 2 trophies and then losing that last one like the way we did. It's not fun, and it definitely leaves a sour taste in our mouths, and one that we're going to want to change this year.
Goody, I don't want to leave you sitting there just watching in here. I asked, or we were talking earlier in the show about, Guildford just coming a week before Christmas. They were 13 points clear. We'd played, I think, 24 games, and in the last 29 games, discounting Sunday night's game, from 58 points, we've taken 52. Guildford haven't lost that league. We've went and won that league. They can't be critical of them. It's just been an unbelievable end of the season.
Yeah, like I said, we really just kind of stuck together and grinded maybe a little bit better than the rest of the teams in the league. Did Guildford slow down a little bit? Maybe, whatever, but we really just kind of took over and we weren't going to let anyone catch us.
This is one for both of you, Besco and Goody. And everybody looks at games differently in moments throughout the season. And obviously, Goody, you've been here for the full season. Besco, retired and got bored and then come back again. But if you could start with you, Goody, first of all, if you take one moment throughout the season that you thought was pivotal to getting that kick in the backside to a certain extent, what would you say it would be?
Yeah, I think I'd be remiss to not mention that Manch weekend, the last time I was on the podcast.
Being on the podcast. That's what that is.
Yeah, the podcast is really what turned the season around. No, I mean that was obviously like a wake up moment for us. Like we needed to improve in not just one or two areas. There was a lot of areas we needed to improve on. Some of that was in my hands as leadership. Some of that was in Kiefer's hands as the coach, and some of that was in Steve's hands as some player transaction moves. So we had to improve at all assets, and I think we recognized that very clearly after the Manch weekend.
And Besko?
For me, I think it was the Sheffield weekend where we took both games from Sheffield at home. Personally, I felt like it was a confidence booster for myself. I hadn't been feeling well, and for the team to get 4 points like the way we did against a good team like Sheffield, I think it was definitely a confidence booster for the whole team, really.
You mentioned him there, and again, this is a question for both, actually. Because you've experienced working under him. He's a 5-time champion himself, both as a player and as a coach. Adam Keefe, what is it, Goody, that makes him such a successful coach in this league?
I think he's able to keep the boys focused the whole season long, better than the other coaches in the league. I think if you look at our roster, we might not have the sexiest roster, the best resumes, but Kiefer keeps the guys dialed and really instills in us a level of commitment that's necessary to win such a grindable league.
Tyler?
Yeah, I think a big thing too is the fact that he's played in the league. He knows what the grind is to get the league trophies. He knows on both sides, really. He's now experienced those tough decisions on whether what's more important. Is it to practice on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or is it time off for the guys, given an optional? And so I think that him understanding that part of it and understanding what the players go through on and off the ice, I think it's pushed the rest of us to be able to play as well as we have.
And just one thing to add that, of course, the 54 league game grind, but to win that Challenge Cup, for those dead rubbers, if you like, at the end of the group stage, focus on the guys that they are so important, because to have the final at home, would you want to go to Sheffield and play a final? Would you want to go to Nottingham or whatever? To have that final at home is critical. And the focus above all the other teams who just sort of say, oh, well, we're going to qualify here and we'll take our quarterfinal semi wherever it comes. That's massive.
Yeah, it is. And I think particularly, for the new guys to the league, that whole concept is something that is a learning curve. And Kiefer does a good job really explaining that and really drilling that into the guy's head.
Yeah, it's not easy, especially after winning a trophy like that mid-season, and then having to get the guys to just restart and reboot their minds to get back into league play. It's not an easy thing to do. It's definitely something that comes with experience.
With the league season behind us, gentlemen, and 2 trophies in the bag, obviously there's the one to play for. We have Glasgow this weekend, and I don't need to tell you that, apart from them taking us once to the overtime, it's been pretty successful this season against them. Goody, for yourself as captain, there's a level of confidence going into the. We've been scoring for fun at times in the last number of weeks. We're solid at the back, but at the end of the day, these guys have nothing to lose. So, there is a level of danger there.
Yeah, absolutely. Kiefer has this phrase this year, the nameless gray faces, I think is what it is. And, it's so cliche, but the reality is we really try not to focus too much on our opponent. And we feel if we prepare the best of our ability and we perform well, we're going to get good results.
And Besko, I mentioned you've come in, you've won the Challenge Cup, you've won the league. There is one missing from your trophy cabinet at the minute. And how determined are you coming into these next couple of weeks?
Yeah, pretty determined. It's not an easy trophy to win, especially after you've won. We come in here, we win the Challenge Cup. we have that relief a little bit, and then it's right back to work again, and then winning the league, and then a bit of relief, a bit of weight off your shoulders, and then having to reboot again and get on the same page as everybody else now, because they all now have something to play for again, where Glasgow probably didn't have anything to play for since probably before Christmas. So for them, they have nothing to lose at this point. They're the 8th seed. They don't have a coach. The season they've had this year has been, part of my French, a bit of a shit show. And so for them,
did you not hear Hank earlier on? You can say what you want.
But no, for us, I think especially the guys that were here last year, to take that quarterfinals as a learning curve, barely squeaking by Coventry, again, a 1 seed playing an 8 seed, but they just had nothing to lose at the time, and coming in here and really gave us a run for our money. So I'm definitely looking forward to this weekend, and then the weekend after that as well.
Fantastic. Let's go one more time. I'm going to bring it back to Simon Kitchen's floor of his kitchen. There's that trophy that was picked up on Saturday. Gentlemen, thank you very much for that, and thank you very much for your time. Good luck this weekend, and let's go get. Oh, Simon, you got one more to go. Go on.
Yeah, note, I have cleaned it for the both of you. Okay, so try and keep it clean this time, please.
The floor of the trophy.
No, the floor. Jasmine looks after the floor, but that's where she gets her pocket money from. I still have to pay for fuel.
Appreciate it.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, good luck this weekend, and let's go get that final trophy.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, boys.
Big thanks to David Goodwin and Tyler Beskorowany, who came in and out there. For joining, especially in what has no doubt been a really busy week. Back to training, and a big weekend to prepare for. Gentlemen, we've got a few more things to deal with in this show. Before we do that, we're going to pop down to training. Mr. Kitchen had a chance to chat with Kieran Long and Sam Rupp.
After the first practice of the week with Sam Rupp, Sam, 2-time Elite League champion. How's that feel?
Feels incredible. It's very special, and I'm honored to be part of such a good group here with the Giants. So it feels nice coming out with some silverware, and but we're not done yet.
Obviously you won the Challenge Cup there, so you're a 2-time Challenge Cup champion as well. Sorry, but the game on Saturday against Guildford, first versus second, very tentative first 10-12 minutes, but then when we scored that first goal, it sort of just, you can see the confidence grow very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought we were a little bit more reserved at the start of the game, but yeah, once the first goal went in, kind of the floodgates opened in a sense. So I thought we played extremely well, and we stuck to our systems the whole game, and as per usual, it panned out.
We've had some success the last couple of years, and you played in the final last year against the Cardiff Devils, which didn't go our way for the playoffs. They start this weekend against the Glasgow Clan, and the plan is to get that final again and go one better and lift that trophy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been our goal the entire season, is to do the treble, and we've set ourselves up for in a good position here. So we're taking it game by game, and I think we can get the job done.
The boys had a couple of days to celebrate. Did you enjoy a drink or two?
Yes, absolutely. No, it was a lot of fun, and especially winning it here in front of the home crowd and getting to interact with the fans afterwards. It was an amazing night, and very special, something that gonna remember forever.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Longer, you're just standing beside your big mate Matt Pellets there. Is that where the haircut generated from?
Yeah, Pals is a good friend. We're both big bodies. I'm probably the same weight, same height, just as tough as he is. So just wanted to follow in his footsteps.
A couple of teammates there just getting a chance to head on. Thanks very much, boys. Let's get the weekend. Obviously, you missed out, but you got to celebrate John Terry style on the ice to win the trophy at home in front of a packed-out crowd. It's something that as a hockey player, I'm sure you'll never forget.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think obviously it was devastating not being on the ice with the boys to get the job done, but to get get the job done in front of the crowd that we had was good for them and good for us.
Now, you were telling me about a wee story yesterday. The boys got to go out on Monday evening after the awards night, which was fantastic in front of so many fans here at the SSE Arena. But you went to one of the local establishments in Belfast. You can pick up a story there.
Yeah, so after the event, a few of the boys had already headed over. I was still talking to just a couple of people. But then they wanted the trophies over, so I was searching around for the trophies, managed to get the trophies out with Kiefer. And as I'm walking into this establishment with both the big boys we had, the bouncer stops me from going in and he's just like, just a heads up, Ulster basketball team are in with their 2 trophies. So okay, fair enough. So I walk in, and the first people I walk into are the Ulster basketball boys, and they were like, what the hell are those things? They're huge. So we had a good night out. They were celebrating theirs, we were celebrating ours, but yeah, in comparison, ours was just slightly bigger.
I'm assuming we're talking about trophies here?
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. This weekend, you come out, you're back from the 3-game suspension. Glasgow Clan, 2 games over the next on Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a tough ask because the playoffs, everybody steps up their game.
Yeah, definitely, and it's good just to have that experience last year. We struggled in that first quarterfinal games, and we're quite fortunate that we got through on a lucky penalty shot from Cons.
Lucky penalty shot.
Yeah, wow! If you watch the slow mo, that goalie's pad comes up right at the last second. But no, I think the boys that were here last year, we know how hard it is. And me coming back from my suspension, I'm just as hungry to get this third trophy.
Top man Longer, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
Big thanks to Sam Rupp and to Kieran Long. Before we move on, gentlemen, big thanks to Neil Whiteside. He sent it to me.
This is why I signed here, and to have a chance to win the league and the Challenge Cup, it feels so fucking good.
Big shout to Henrik Erickson on national TV on Viaplay. Right, boys, bit of news. One specific bit after the 9-2, despite a 9-2 victory for his Dundee Stars. Unfortunately, our good friend here, former Belfast Giant Jeff Mason, is no longer the head coach of the Dundee Stars. He has been replaced by, inverted commas, a friend of the show, Mark Lefebvre. Bit of a shock on Mark Lefebvre coming back, Davy. I don't think many people expected it.
No, it's an acquired taste coaching in Dundee. Our good friend Jeff Mason has had a difficult season, no doubt about that. He will have learnt so much about coaching, about GMing, about himself as a person, and I think he'll be stronger going forward in the future in every facet of his life. So wish him well, whatever he gets up to next year and beyond. And Favour coming back in, well, friend of the show, Mark Lefebvre,
friend of the show.
He loves his horse racing. We love talking horse racing with him. So he's already said he'll be happy to come on the show, whatever, 12, 13 times, whatever we'll play them next season. So we'll line Favour up over the summer and get that interview done. So good luck to him.
More than Omar Pasha will be.
I don't know. When Pash goes back to Stars, we'll have him on too.
Says, what about that move? The Mace out, Lefebvre in.
Yeah, I mean, Davy's just touched on there. Mace had a difficult year. I mean, they had a lot of injuries this year, and
yeah,
unfortunately for them, they're not in the same sort of position as us that we can sign as many players as we want to, because we are the Belfast Giants and we do what we want. But it's one of those ones where it's been a really difficult season for him. Mace, I've all the time in the world for Mace. He's just an absolute top lad. He's a really good coach, and he'll certainly find his feet and find somewhere, and knows the game. But it was disappointing for him, certainly, for the way the season's ended. And Davy just touched on it there. He's a GM was GM and head coach, and some of the things that you've got to go through as a head coach and a GM, you just don't realize that where you are, and the ice that they don't have ice in Dundee. I think it's Monday and Tuesday, so there's no practice facilities. It's just a real pain. It's not ideal for a professional team. But you've got to work with the hand you're dealt, and unfortunately for Mace, it's ended up with he's no longer there. And then when Davey said the best of luck, the favourite. I hate them. I hate every other club in the league, and I don't wish any of them the best of luck. However, he is a
friend of the show.
I said best of luck to Marker Fev, except when he's playing against us.
No, I don't wish any of them any luck at all.
Nah, I'm okay with that.
No, you've changed.
I'm not too worried about Dundee finishing second in the league, mate.
Listen, you just never know.
They had a good run of it once. Do you remember the good run of Jeff Hutchins?
I mean, they got we handed to them last year in the semi-final of the playoffs, but they got really well to take the playoff trophy, but it is what it is.
Not next year, anyway.
One last thing. I want to look at the league table in just a second. But one last thing, and not good news, unfortunately. The Basingstoke Bison will not be taking part in formerly of the Elite League, formerly of the EIHL, but sorry, the league will not be taking part in competition in the NHL next season. There's going to be a lot of work done on the rink. Our good friend Anthony Russell, who's watching in, obviously a stalwart of the scene there and of the Basingstoke Bison. It's a terrible situation for them to be in. It's not great for the fans. Having experienced myself being amongst Newcastle fans when their team actually dissolved and it was gone. It's not great for good hockey fans to not have a team. So hopefully in time the Basingstoke Bison can come back stronger in a much nicer rink. Dave, you've been to Basingstoke?
It's freezing.
Yeah, it is freezing
in the middle of summer. It's freezing. It's just a fridge. So if they're doing some sort of plant repair. Yeah, but it's like even colder than an ice rink. It's just not. It's just not. It's hard to explain how cold it is in there.
Yeah, says you played
Anthony Russell. Anthony Russell will in the comments. Anthony Russell, how cold is Basingstoke compared to like all the other NIHL rinks?
Alaska. No, I never played in Basingstoke. I played in Bracknell a couple of times and never got a chance to play in Basingstoke. But it's one of those ones where it's never nice to lose a team out of any of the leagues in the UK. It's I just hope that it is only for one season. I mean, they had a couple of good seasons right back in what Simon is he's a kid. Absolutely.
I comment from Jason Ellery. Not sure of the name.
He's I've heard of him before. But as I say, it's never nice losing any team from any league in the UK. It's hopefully it's only for one season and then get it back the following year. But it's I mean the fan base, it's generational type of thing as well. You just need to try and make sure that they work hard to get back on the ice in 24-25.
Yeah. And in the NIHL, I know that coming down this way next Friday are the Whitley Warriors to play Billingham in Altrincham as part of their playoffs. And David Longstaff will be finishing as coach there. And Dean Holland finishing as captain there, two stalwarts of the Northeast scene. So I wish them well. I know David, I don't know, he's stepping away from hockey altogether. Obviously, his two sons doing well in Premier League football. But I don't know if he's finishing up as coach of Whitley Bay. Let's have a quick look at the league table, gentlemen. I'll bring it up here, just at the final league table of the regular season. And of course, the standings have the Belfast Giants atop of that. 84 points from 54 games. Guildford on second, 82. 77 for Sheffield. 75 for the Cardiff Devils. 72 for Coventry Blaze, who have been in fifth since about 1995. The Manchester Storm finishing in sixth, which is great for them. The Nottingham Panthers finishes in seventh, which is brilliant for everybody else. And the Glasgow Clan 35, scripping into that point, just 1 point ahead of the Fife Flyers, who drop out, and the Dundee Stars obviously finished in 10th. The Giants winning by 2 points, but obviously also having that regulation win was sort of like an extra point just in case, which has left us with the playoff bracket, gents. And I'm going to ask you, let's bring up the playoff bracket. There it is. And I'm going to ask you to pick your final four.
Go ahead,
David.
The top seed comes through on the top game.
So Belfast Giants, of course. Okay, Belfast.
Yeah, the Guildford. I could get a
Guildford
team
against Nottingham.
No, I Guildford against Nottingham. I could get a team from Ballybean to beat the Panthers, so Guildford win that.
Guildford.
My heart
Sheffield
says
Steelers against the
Storm, and my
Manchester
heart
Storm.
says Blaze. I think
You're
Brodie
saying
DuPont.
Storm and Blaze?
If Brodie DuPont can somehow motivate that team, they've got talent in Cardiff. There's no doubt about it. But like the Blaze will be hungry too. It's. I think that's the one that's a toss-up. I think the top seeds in the top three are probably the strong favourites to go through that fourth, fifth. Obviously, with it being 4 and 5, is probably the tightest one. But I could see an upset in the bottom two.
So you're saying Storm and Blaze?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Hey,
go ahead, Patrick. What do you think?
The Belfast Giants, the Guildford Flames. I can't see Nottingham getting anything from that at all. I'd love to see the Storm go through. I really actually would. I think I think Ginner's done a great job there to get them to where they are in 6th. They got good goaltending in Brodeur. I'd love to see them knock out Sheffield. I don't think they will. Sheffield is what I'm going to choose. And I actually do think that the Blaze will defeat the Cardiff Devils. I think that Cardiff, despite having a great win against the Sheffield Steelers in that final game of the season, where McNally came in and was gone within a period after his suspension. Coventry Blaze have been on a bit of a charge, on and off, but they are a dangerous side. They've got strong goaltending. They know where the net is. I could see them going through the Cardiff Devils. So I'm saying the Blaze. Simon?
Giants, Guildford.
Yep.
I think the Storm could possibly beat Sheffield over 2 games.
Right.
And I agree with you regarding Cardiff and Coventry. I think that's going to be, I was talking to Taff about this today, actually. That'll be a battle of the goaltenders. Whoever comes out on top in the goaltending department will take that win. And I've just got a sneaking suspicion that it's going to be Cardiff. I think Cardiff have found a way to win. It's difficult to try and they've done in the last 3 years as the playoff champions. They've got the guys in that locker room to do it. However, I do think that it could come down to the goaltending for sure.
So you're saying Belfast, Guildford, Storm, and the Devils are your 4. So everybody's got a different 4. So that's we'll look back at those next week and we'll see how it goes. Obviously, the game between the Sheffield Steelers and the Manchester Storm, the first leg's on the Friday, and that'll complete on the Saturday. The other 2 are across the Saturday and Sunday. With Belfast, I think, are the only higher seed that are having an away game second. Obviously for arena reasons. Anybody watching in, send us what you think. Send us on the live chat. We'll up, or send us a tweet at Avftb and tell us who you think will be in the final 4 at playoffs. The next thing on my agenda, gentlemen, we'll keep going. The next thing on my agenda is the awards that took place on Monday night. Absolutely phenomenal. The crowd that were in there that night. Obviously, Mr. Kitchen behind the microphone. Let me just find where I've put the awards. There should be there. There we go. Let's run through a couple of these. Ben Lake got the Ian Barton Award. Kieran Long was the Coach's Player of the Year. Gabe Bast, unsurprisingly, I think Defenseman of the Year. There was a bit of challenge to that, though. Tyler Beskorowany, a Fan Favourite Award. Gabe Bast, OSC Young Player of the Year. Mark Cooper, the Players Player of the Year. David Goodwin, the Jim Gillespie President's Award. Jackson Whistle, the Unsung Hero. And then it was the Scott Conway Show. Scott Conway Forward of the Year. Scott Conway, MVP. Scott Conway, OSC Player of the Year. And Scott Conway, top scorer. We get a few of these going. But Davey, it's hard to argue with any of these awards. We heard Goody and Besco talking about Goody especially talking about these awards, and you can't argue for a hell of a lot of them. Certainly not the ones on Scott Conway.
No, and you hear Goody mentioning line mate Steve Orry saying, it's almost criminal act that he doesn't come away with an award, and there's probably a few players along the lines as well. Kieran Long playing forward, played D, scored goals, mixed it up with people, agitated away, got players off their game from the other team. So, Gabe Bast, he had a lot of competition in terms of D-Man of the year, but he come out with an awful lot of points, and he scored an awful lot of critical goals at key times. Not just critical goals, he came up with massive first assists on power plays. Our special teams are really good this year. Gabe Bast did a lot of quarterbacking on the power play. There's all those little things. Played a lot of minutes, but all those awards really well. And look at Scott Conway, like Dipsy Doodle, as Simon says on the webcast through players. He scored in big games. No flat track bullying there. Like, he scored big goals in big games against big teams and big goaltenders. And it was really at times through the season, come with the hour, come with the man. You needed that big goal, and it was on his stick. He took the responsibility. He went to dirty areas and he got good goals. He didn't get anything at that awards night that he didn't earn. Fantastic servant to this club this year. And, and we haven't even touched on like Mark Cooper, how many times he reversed into the blue paint, and Ben Lake, pound for pounder, and all those things. We've just had a tremendous season. And I hope this team deserves to round it out with one more win. One more trophy win.
With the Ian Barton Award, Simon, you were part of that night. It was a fantastic night with regards to the awards. It's always good. We saw the fantastic league banner that was hanging on that stage. Your assessment of the night itself, and of course the awards that were given out.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's nowhere in Belfast can hold those numbers. I mean, it was just it was between 1,000 and 1,100 fans that were in the building that night. It's, the ops team did a brilliant job to get it all ready. But don't forget, we had a game on Saturday, and they put the flooring down and got the stage put up, and it was perfectly set with regards to the way, the fans were all right in front of you, at an arm's reach to a certain extent. And Scott Conway, you can't use enough superlatives this year for what he's done as a individual and as a line mate, as a team player. He's just absolutely outstanding. He's the best player in the league. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I mean, I talked about when you look through the group and who won the first All-Star team last year. There was Griffin Reinhardt, there was Scott Conway, JJ Picanich, and Besko were the four. And we've been asked for our picks of player of the year for the media side of things, and all those. So the selections actually have to get that done this week. But when you look at those players, to be very honest, it could be 6 Belfast Giants in that first line. It genuinely could. I mean,
it was for me, man.
In my opinion, Gabe Bass is the best defenseman in the league. In my opinion, Scott Conway is the best forward in the league, but the best player in the league as well. Matt Greenfield was doing really well until Besko turned up and then took over, and Besko's been absolutely. Davy's got the numbers. It's just ridiculous how good he's been this year. David Goodwin, I still think David Goodwin's underrated. He's 200 points in Belfast Giants in just over 2 and a bit seasons. 90 so far this year in all competitions. And he just goes under the radar a wee bit. I think he's absolutely superb. I mean, as Goody said about Steve Arey, Mark Cooper, there's so many players there that could take those accolades. And we're very, very lucky this year to have another group that has eventually been gelled together by Steve and Adam, and they've come up on trumps again with a league and a Challenge Cup. We have been very, very lucky, and I know there's a lot of fans out there who, from other fan bases that chirp the Giants fans for this, that, and the other. We deserve to get chirped because we're the best, and that's it.
That's what happens. Hated, adored, but never ignored, mate. That's the way it goes. What looks to be a fantastic night. Some brilliant awards given out, and like you say, there are such strong contenders for more or less every single one of those awards. But then the ones that you got, the ones that did get, you can't argue with. So wonderful to see. Looked like a wonderful night. Looked like a brilliant crowd in, and the Austin stole the show. So it was. So what more can you want from that night? Congratulations to everybody who won the award. Congratulations to the Odyssey and the ops team, the SSE Arena ops team for what they did. And fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Right. Let me see, where were we? We are oh yes, a big thanks to Neil Whiteside for all of that footage and all the bits and pieces of the work. We all know the kid's a genius, and a big thanks to him for updating our opening titles.
He's not a kid anymore. That's what we keep on
I know,
saying. Great.
I know. But sorry. The lad's a genius. The lad's a genius, and he updated our opening titles. Sent me a message earlier this week saying, "I've updated your opening titles," and he's put in this year's Challenge Cup and this year's league into the opening titles, and just fabulous. I really, really appreciate it. So big thanks to Neil Whiteside. Right. We are coming towards a close of the show, I promise you. We do have one more thing to deal with, and that is this forthcoming weekend against the Glasgow Clan. First versus 8th in the quarterfinal of the Viaplay Elite League playoffs. The Glasgow Clan have had a bit of a tumultuous season. They started with Malcolm Cameron on the bench as a bench coach. That didn't go well. They went 0-17, but have been able to drag themselves into a playoff place where they will face the Belfast Giants. I had an opportunity earlier today to talk to a player formerly of this parish and League winner himself, and now the captain of the Glasgow Clan. That is, of course, Craig Peacock. Mr. Craig Peacock, welcome back to A View from the Bridge. Good to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, been a while since I've been on here.
Yeah, it's all changed now, mate. We do video now. You know what I mean? Can't get away with just like some phone call. You know what I mean? It's all changed. Listen, you guys have had an interesting season in Glasgow. Let's put it that way. Obviously not the best of starts, going 0-17, but to be able to scramble your way back in, find that leadership, and get yourself in that 8th spot into the playoff is something to be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. For this group that's stuck together through all the adversity that we've been through this season, like you say, the losing streaks. I mean, that wasn't the only losing streak that we went on this year. We had quite a few of them. So to find ourselves, scrape our way into the 8th place, I would say is an achievement for this group. Obviously, we lost players along the way. It took us a while to bring new players in. Obviously, Stevie Dixon and Dyson taking over as coaches as well. And that was our aim when they took over, was just kind of do what we can to get into the playoffs. And we've managed to achieve that.
You as captain, and you've got those guys there who've had to step up in a matter of adversity when Malcolm Cameron was deposed of his position. How much did that galvanize you guys as a side, thinking okay, we were changing coach here, some of the guys are stepping off the ice in likes of Steve Dixon, and we've got, like you say, Dyson Stevenson working there as well. How much did that galvanize you guys as a side to try to fight your way back into contention to get into that final 8?
Yeah, we knew at that point of the year that, we weren't out of contention for making the playoffs. So that was kind of when those guys took over. Obviously, we sat down and had some meetings as a group and talked about what we wanted to achieve. And obviously, it was a new position for those guys jumping into kind of the coaching role. So, they just asked that we bought into their ideas and what they were trying to bring to us as a club and as a team, and how we wanted to play on the ice. And I think, as a whole, we done that. Obviously, we went through some rough patches, but I'm just really proud of kind of the way the guys have stuck together, and the job that Dix and Dice have done, in the circumstances that they got handed it, I think is to be applauded.
What style of leader are you, Peaks? I mean, we obviously know you here winning championships yourself with the Belfast Giants, but now, with all due respect, you're probably one of the elder statesmen, which pains me to say it, because I remember when you came to Belfast. It pains me to say it, but you're obviously one of the leaders in that group. What style of leader are you?
I mean, I'm probably not a screamer and a shouter. I don't think I've kind of changed who I am much as a person. I just try and kind of lead by example, say the right things when it needs to be said. Obviously, we've got a great leadership group from the coaches and the assistant captains as well, so it doesn't all fall on me. And there's a lot of guys who step up in that room and will have something to say at the right time as well. But for me, I just kind of try and lead by example. I mean, my game's probably changed a lot from when I last played over there with you guys as well. So, for me, it's about doing all the small details and, face-offs, doing well on the PK, blocking shots if that's what needs to be done, and hopefully that the team follows suit with that. But yes, it's been great for me, and the team have been really supportive, and like I say, the whole leadership group that we have here have really pulled together and made sure that this team got into the playoffs.
There's been a level of turmoil off the ice as well. Has that had an effect in the room?
Yeah, I mean, it's never easy. Obviously, when you've got all that stuff going on in the background, it's going to find its way into the locker room. There's going to be uncertainty. You know, guys were probably getting offers to leave for other teams, and some guys did do that. So I take my hats off to the guys that stuck around and said, you know, we've committed to this. We're going to see it through, and we'll do the best we can. Obviously, it's been a bit trying at times for us as a team and for the fan base, but yeah, like I've already said, I'm just proud that this group's managed to get ourselves into the playoffs.
Let's focus on this weekend now. Obviously, without the place, you're up against ourselves, and we've had a great week, and the fact is now both teams are going to focus now on what's going to happen in the two games that take place on Saturday and Sunday. How are your preparations? And obviously, with the games you've played against Belfast this season, some of them have been tight, some of them haven't been. What have you learned from the games against Belfast?
Yeah, I think exactly what you say. We've had a couple that, the scores have been a little bit closer, but we've also had a couple where Belfast have blown us out of the water. And we know what Belfast and the Giants bring. There's a reason that team's won 2 trophies this year. So we know what we're up against, but we know that looking back on the games that we've managed to keep close, we're going to have to be, at our very, very best to be able to compete with this Belfast team. But it's a challenge that I think everybody is looking forward to, and one that we're all taking very seriously this week in practice, and we're just going to prepare ourselves the best way we can to give ourselves the best chance.
I guess when it's in that position as well, you've shown that you can get that the place. You've got nothing to lose. You're up against the champs. You just have to leave it all out there on the ice.
Yeah, that's it. And it's no secret we're the underdogs. And like you say, there's nothing to lose for us, so we can just kind of go out there and give it our all and see what happens. But we're under no secret what we're up against. But we're preparing the best we can. We know, like I say, we're going to have to be at our best, if not perfect, over 6 periods of hockey, which is a big ask. But again, it's playoffs. If we can keep it tight in the first leg, who knows what happens when you come home for the second.
Listen, mate, it's good to see you. I'd say I'd wish you well for the weekend, but I don't mean that. And but going forward with the clan, and hopefully things sort itself out, and we'll see you again.
No, I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on.
Big thanks to him for his time earlier on. These games, Belfast Giants will take on the Glasgow Clan at home on Saturday at 7 p.m. at the SSE Arena. You get that on Giants TV, and then away on Sunday at 6 p.m. at the Braehead Ice Arena, and that's on Clan TV. Belfast Giants have taken all the points from the Glasgow Clan so far this season. One game going to overtime, but a lot of those games have been quite one-sided, says.
Yeah, just what we do, Paddy.
Dangerous. We were saying earlier on that with Goody and like that, is that a team like this who have scraped their way in, they've got nothing to lose. These could be their last 2 games of the season. Why not just throw it all out there?
But it could also be our last 2 games of the season. So that's, we're looking at it from a point of view that, when Goody's already touched on it, we're confident in our own ability. We have to play our game. If we play our game, then we've got a really good chance of winning the games over the weekend. But as I say, Glasgow have, the battle to get in the 8th place. It's a one-off game. It's not going to be the first time that an 8th place team can beat a first place team. I'm pretty sure Coventry did it a couple of years ago, and they ended up going on to win the playoffs. So, it can happen, and we need to be very, very careful.
We scripted against Coventry last year in the quarterfinals. Yeah. It wasn't straightforward. It was pretty tight.
And again, that could be the same this weekend. However, if the boys play the way they can play, then we've got a really good chance. However, it comes down to concentrate on Saturday, first of all, get your business done at home, and then, you've got to go on the road on Sunday. So it's 2 games that, that really could define our season. You don't want to, with the greatest respect, you don't want to go out of the playoffs to the 8th place team after winning the league the week before. That just wouldn't sit well with the boys, and I know that wouldn't sit well with the coaching staff. So there's a big ask to go on and keep on going for 4 more games. But let's hope that again, Saturday's the most important one, and that's the next one up.
That's it. Davy, complacency, we shouldn't have any. Ability, we've got it in spades. You mentioned about the idea of the collective exhale. I think there was a lot, especially when we won it under Paul Eadie, there was such a gap between, we won it so early that it was just like, then we fell short in the Challenge Cup and blah, blah, blah. We won this trophy a matter of days ago. We won this league a matter of days ago. We've had a period of celebration, and now it's back to work.
Yeah, and look, I think Goody nailed it on the head when he said, we concentrate on us, do what we've got to do. We talked to Simon just shortly after the loss in the playoff final last year, and the cliche of it was one game too many. But we were missing Bush, we were missing Kevin Rain, we got behind in that game, and then we had to play a completely different style of hockey that would play it all season. We conceded goals that we hadn't normally conceded because we were just a little bit different players playing different positions and stuff. So we take that the experience from last year that Goody and all will be able to put on their teammates, Scott Conway, etc. That we're all here last year and knew how difficult it was. But I don't want to talk about it too much. We'll talk about the playoff final weekend if and when we get there. Big game this weekend. As Goody said, just let those grey faces sink in the background, just go out and play as the Belfast Giants can play. And history tells us we should be okay, because if this Belfast Giants team turns up and they're dialed in, they'll be okay.
Belfast Giants against Glasgow Clans Saturday at 7 p.m. at the SSE Arena. Get yourself down to that. And if you don't, in Giants TV with Mr. Simon Kitchen, the last call of the season for him. And the Belfast Giants against the Glasgow Clan in Glasgow. Excuse me. That's the Camden Pale Ale coming through. The Sunday at 6 p.m. at the Braehead Ice Arena, and that will be on Clan TV. Last call of the season. Says excited.
I've enjoyed doing it again this year, and I still don't know who's coming to do it with me. Either you two aren't here, so unless you want to jump on a flight and come on over, since you're not doing anything else, Davey. Get your flight booked, come on over for the last game, and hopefully, as I say, we get the win. It's been the guys behind the scenes at Giants TV have been brilliant this year, and all the people that joined me, you two have been on, and there's so many people that have done thanks to this year. So it's been great. It's been really, really good. And again, lucky enough to I'll maybe try and get our friend that's in the kitchen here with us on the Giants TV at the weekend as well.
That guy?
Wow. That guy there. That's
this
him.
guy. This guy here.
That's him.
You mean the Elite League Champions Trophy? Live on A View from the Bridge from Simon Kitchen's kitchen floor. Yeah, that's fantastic. The work that's done by you guys on Giants TV is brilliant, and Davey wants us to keep moving. Right, let's go then. Any other business, boys?
I have a couple. Firstly, Blakey's been sick. He took it on Saturday evening after the game, and I just want to let him know that we're thinking about him. Hopefully he's okay.
Absolutely.
He's back and is fighting form very, very quickly. And the second one, part of the obviously we all know about the Ukraine game, and we all know that there's going to be all the funds that are raised and the profits from the game are going to Ukraine hockey dreams. So Robert Fitzpatrick has found a lovely jersey to donate, which we're going to put up for auction. And that is the very one right there. So it was given to us by the Boston Bruins back in 2010, which was the season they went on to win the Stanley Cup against the Vancouver Canucks. It's signed by so many unbelievable players. Patrice Bergeron's on there, Brad Marchand. You've got Milan Lucic, Tyler Seguin. And that's going to go on raffle. It's uploaded right now, but we have to wait for raffle to authorize the sale, and then it'll be online. We will get that out there on the Avftb and the Belfast Giants Twitter and social media feeds, hopefully tomorrow at the very, very latest. So it's for a brilliant cause. All the money raised from this jersey will go to the Ukraine hockey dreams, and hopefully we can dig deep and raise a lot of money for them, because it's a fantastic cause.
Are we allowed to enter?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. It's done by Raffle. So Raffle is an independent site. They basically do the whole thing. They pick the winners. The only thing that we put up there's the photographs and the information. We have absolutely no input in any way, shape, or form into who wins it. So yes, I'll be buying some tickets for it myself. Jasmine's going to buy some, and so dig deep and get your cash out.
I'd love to get my hands on that, to be honest with you.
See, to be very honest, when Laura brought it out the other day, and says we're going to raise a bit of money for this, and she says, well, I said, what do you want for it? And she said, well, Robert, just wants us to raise some money. And I said, well, tell me what you want. And Robert says, well, if we can raise 500 quid for it, that'd be fantastic. I said, I'll give you 500 quid for it right now. And it's something I genuinely really like to get my hands on. But hopefully we're going to put it out there, £2 a ticket. Hopefully it raises a lot more than £500.
Here.
David, anything from you?
Oh, my last piece of any other business, going back to the awards ever so slightly, seen Jackson Whistle got the Unsung Hero Award, and rightly so. He's done really well this season. But one guy who's always unsung, although I'm always singing his praises, our good friend, Jason Taff-Ellery, does so much behind the scenes. I talked about it many times about Conway doesn't score, etc., if he doesn't sharpen the skates, but he does everything for those boys. Working while they're all up in the bar, getting absolutely snattered on Saturday night. He's down in the locker room, getting the gear ready for the trip to Dundee, washing the kit, washing the towels, having everything set out, so they just have to turn up and play the game. So, we're very, and I do not take it for granted, we are very, very privileged and the access that we get this club and when we turn up the games. And I was down there shortly after lunchtime on Saturday, I think it was, and down with Taff, just hanging out. He was getting ready for the game. He doesn't make you feel like you're in the way. He treats you like part of his family. And I love this guy to pieces as a friend, but what he does for this organization can't be quantified. He is the glue of that locker room. And shout out to me old Welsh mate Taffy.
Here. Couldn't say more than that myself, mate. I think that the work that he does for the organization is unmatched and unrivaled. Over how long has he been with the club now? 15 years? Is it as long as that?
21, I believe it is.
21 years, is it long?
I think so.
The word is absolutely remarkable.
You went back earlier on and got a photograph of Mark Garshay when he was younger, when he first started playing with the Giants. I wonder if we can find a year one picture of
Taff.
Talk amongst yourself there.
We've asked how long Jason Ellery has been with the Belfast Giants. We have a response too long.
Yeah.
Is the response that we've received.
I think it's his account's been hacked. We're talking today. We're in the office today, and there's a girl called Lorna from the Avftb team sits right behind us, and Dawn from the ticketing team sits in the same offices, and we're sitting. Lorna's talking about going to Vegas, and Taff obviously went last year for the first time, and he absolutely loved it. We're going back in June again. Can't come quick enough. It's actually 2 months yesterday. So the time's ticking away, and hopefully we'll get out there soon enough. But we're talking about Vegas and what you can get up to there, and it's just for anybody that hasn't been, get yourself booked to go to Vegas. It's the best city in the world, apart from Belfast, that is obviously. Sports entertainment tours, travel agent, you can use them absolutely 100%.
Dear. Say no any other business from. Oh no, actually, I had a great time at the weekend. I went to a caravan site. I'm not going to go into that. I went to a caravan site, had a great time. Would have much rather been in Belfast and enjoyed that. But I took the laptop down to the bar in the caravan site, and there were a whole load of ones, rugby ones from Mayo and Cork. They were over for a tournament in Pathelli. And anyway, they saw me and I had my laptop on. I'm some bald lads screaming at my laptop in the corner on my phone, just going, jumping about all over the place. And they come over and they have a chat and they say, "What's going on here, mate?" And I explain and says, "Are you watching ice hockey?" Da-da-da. And then they kept checking. And I says, "Did you win? Did you win?" I says, "We did win." Next thing you know, it was a tray of shots. There you go, mate. Let's all get stuck into the Belfast Giants. Shots. And then there's a bit of a tradition. So it's a bit of a tradition that I have with a couple of old friends of mine. One watching in Anthony Russell, which we spoke about a little earlier on, and Stuart Coles, who, when the Coventry Blaze won the league, phoned me up from the car park, and they all sang "Championes" when the Coventry Blaze pipped the Belfast Giants. And at that moment on, I vowed that every time the Belfast Giants won the league, both of them get phone calls. So the call was made to both of them And I just want to say a big hello to both of them. And the call will continue to be made every time the Belfast Giants win the league. And I want them both to remember they started it. And on that note, unless there's anything else from you, gents?
Nope.
No. The Belfast Giants against Glasgow, last home game of the season. Get yourself down there to the SSE Arena for the first leg of this playoffs quarter final. 7 p.m. on Saturday, SSE Arena. And if you can't, you can get it on Giants TV. And then following that, they will travel across the RSC into Glasgow to film that picture of Jason Ellery. Anybody not watching on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter is missing out on a treat on the phone. Can I just bring it up again, Davey? Bring it up again.
I've sent it to you, but
have you? I missed it. Let's see.
Class.
There we go. Look at that. Absolutely remarkable.
Watch for the chirp coming.
There's the chirp coming. There's the chirp coming from Jason Ellery. Are you for real? There he is again. At least he's still got hair. Do something. Photographs. 20 years ago today, the Belfast Giants defeated the Sheffield Steelers on penalty shots at the NIC to go through to the final, and Nottingham Panthers got beat with 0.2 seconds left on the clock. I put up photographs of that.
I learned the weekend that Jason Taff Ellery was on the bench for the London Knights.
London Knights, yeah. I was thinking that myself.
Came across the following season then, and his dynasty began. Look at the trophies, look at the banners that have been hung at Jason Taff Ellery has touched. It's incredible servant to the club.
It was 20 years ago today, Sergeant. No, it was 20 years ago today. Kevin Riel scores that. Yeah, and the Kevin Riel scored a penalty shot against Joel Lang to put the Belfast Giants into the final, and Dennis Maxwell scored with 0.2 seconds left on the clock to knock Nottingham Panthers out, and then of course the Belfast Giants went on to win that playoffs. That was 20 years ago.
Halfman must be on the red wine. He's
good to hear, man.
He's my best. He's one of my best mates. Like, he's an absolute top lad. So. We're gonna have a bit of fun in Vegas this year for sure.
I want to say very great sorry to Mark Hitchcock, who's asked us to have another hour. No, this show is done. The Belfast Giants will go into Glasgow Sunday 6 p.m. Brad Arena. Get that on Clan TV. A big thank you to David Goodwin, to Henrik Erickson, to Tyler Beskorowany, Mark Garside, Kieran Long, Sam Rupp, Craig Peacock, Neil Whiteside for all the stuff, bits and pieces, Jason Ellery for watching in and giving us a bit of grief. It's always good to celebrate a Belfast Giants title. We have been so privileged in the last number of years. Remember, things like this don't last forever. Go out, enjoy it. Don't let anybody tell you that you shouldn't. Don't let anybody tell you should be humble about it. The Belfast Giants have won the Elite League title for a third consecutive time. We are 7 times national champions. We have won the Elite League more than any other club in this league. And that, my friends, is something to be proud of. Mr. McJimsey and Mr. Kitchen, very good to see you.
Good night.
See you through the window.
You can get us at Avftb on Twitter, Facebook, kingdomofthegiants.com, all the normal places. And we're going to close out with a lovely bit of montage video from our good friend, Mr. Whiteside. Wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy your hockey. And we'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge.
There's a moment in your bones when the fire takes over. Blood is running, heart is pumping as the battle gets closer. They can say what they want now, 'cause we'll be screaming out.
What a save by Jackson Whistle! Corey with a hat trick!
Swinging like Ali, knocking out bodies, standing on top like a champion.
Nick, forehand, backhand, score! Oh my word! Hello! It's kept in front by Sean Norris!
Keeping us down is impossible.
It's on the line, it's in!
We're